They were on the agenda before you, so you're going to hear their presentation as well. So you might learn a few things about children's programming in the town of Petawawa before we get to you guys.
And on that note, it's 6 o'clock.
I'm ready to go. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting of the Council for the Town of Petawawa to order for April 7th, 2026. Welcome to members of staff, members of council, and our special presenters this evening, and also all of our special guests here with us this evening. We'll begin this evening's meeting with the reading of the land acknowledgement, and this evening it'll be Councillor Donovan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As we gather this evening, I would like to acknowledge on behalf of the Petawawa Town Council and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Omama-Winini Algonquin people. We would like to thank the Omama-Winini people and express our respect and support for their rich history, and we are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years, and we wish to acknowledge our shared responsibilities in responding to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission 94 calls to action. Call to action number 91. We call upon the officials and host countries of international sporting events such as the Olympics, Pan Am, and Commonwealth Games to ensure that Indigenous peoples' territorial protocols are respected and local Indigenous communities are engaged in all aspects of planning and participating in such events. Recent progress. Sport Canada is continuing to compile lessons learned from recent events and exploration projects to support the evolution of a collective approach to call to action number 91.
Thank you, Councillor Donovan. And now I'd ask everybody here in attendance to please stand and join me in a moment of silent reflection. Thank you very much. And just before we get started this evening, just on behalf of everybody here in the town of Petawawa, I'd just like to offer a huge congratulations to our Canadian astronaut, Jeremy Hansen, who right now is up in space orbiting on the Artemis II, and he is the first non-American to get anywhere near the moon. And he's part of a crew of 4 that have just broken a record for traveling farther from Earth than any other humans in the history of this planet. So congratulations to Colonel Jeremy Hansen, Canadian astronaut. Pretty inspiring.
Yes.
Okay, let's approve the agenda for this evening's meeting. I need a motion. Moved by Councillor Roots, seconded by Councillor Carmody, that the agenda for April 7th, 2026, regular meeting of council be adopted as presented. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest on any of this evening's matters? Then we have some minutes to approve. The council meeting of March 16th, 2026. I need a motion to approve those minutes. Moved by Councillor Donovan, seconded by Councillor Coutu, that the minutes of the regular meeting of council held March 16th, 2026 be approved as printed and circulated. Any questions or comments on the minutes? I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried. Okay, that brings us to our first presentation this evening. We have with us this evening Julie Hollinger, who is the Executive Director. Oops.
Sorry, Julie's not good.
Oh, oh. Sue Leclerc. I was going to get to you, Sue. Sue Leclerc, the Children's Services Manager for Early On Child and Family Center in Petawawa, who's here to talk about the Early On programs at the Southside Community Center at the Garrison Petawawa Recreation Center. We're looking forward to hearing all of the exciting things that are going on there.
Thank you for having me. So we have 2 early on sites in Petawawa. Our early on programs are parent-child drop-in learn and play, where the parents come with the children and participate in the programs. They're offered for children from birth to age 6. These programs are offered at no cost to families and can be accessed in a variety of ways. Families can come in person to both our locations, one at the Southside Community Center, and on Tuesdays we offer a program at the Recreation Complex on Garrison, Petawawa. Our staff are early childhood educators who work with the families and help them with child development and things of interest. It really is that #1 contact point for families in our community. They can really become a part of the community, access resources, and it really helps reduce isolation. We also offer pre- and postnatal sessions for families as well. We do have a second location currently only offered on Tuesdays at the Recreation Complex, but when our new center, our new building is built, it will be offered on both sides, the north side and the south side, because transportation is a barrier for a lot of our families in Petawawa. So we also offer pre-registration programs for families, and these are dependent on age. So we have things like Kids Cooking Club that's from 3 to 6, Open Gym 0 to 6, Baby Sign, Infant Massage, Tot Time for Toddlers, STEM, Science, Pre-Math and Problem Solving programs for 3 to 6, and Music and Movement. We not only operate Monday to Friday, 8 to 4, but we also have evening programs. We have Mommy and Me and Daddy and Me that are every second Tuesday evening, and they're a meal program. It doesn't necessarily have to be mom or dad. It could be aunt, uncle, grandparent, important family member, friend that brings the children. They share a meal together and have an evening of play. We have 2 Saturday programs. One is a Saturday morning breakfast. It's open to the family, and Saturday stop and play. We also offer virtual programs through our YouTube channel, Facebook, Instagram. And in the summers, we really try to focus on school readiness programs for those 3 to 4-year-olds that are going to school in September. So we try to have programs. There's a special program called I Care Cat that talks about emotions. Kids have stress too, that involves both the parent and child. So both of those programs, the parents have to be present. And Stepping Stones to School is run at the end of August, just before kindergarten. And there's also a parent component that talks about how, as a parent, you can get your child ready for school. We have special events throughout the year. April's the month of the military child, so we celebrate a community event called Teal Up Day. We have a community Halloween party, a holiday celebration in December, St. Patrick's Day, a spring celebration, and on Fridays from May till September, we have park days throughout Petawawa where our educators go to local parks and families can meet them there. And I do want to say that this program is open to both civilian and military families, so anybody can access this program with children from 0 to 6. We also have pre-registration for take-home kits, so these are quite popular within the community. There's learning kits, there's different sensory kits, so depending what you're looking for your child, that you can sign those out. We have vacation packages and posting packages for families to have, when they're driving. We've also partnered with, we're called a community champion with the Dolly Parton Imagination Library. So this allows us to provide giving free books that are developmental appropriate. So families can reach out to us and we send out books. They arrive at the child's home every month, depending on what their age or interest. So we kind of do a little intake with the family. And those are sent out. And we also have that program that's bilingual too. Our Wednesday program at the Southside Community Center is also a bilingual program. So the staff speak French, the stories, the songs, the activities are all French, but anybody can come. It's just to give them that introduction to the French language and also make people in the community feel welcome who have French as a second language. As I said, our virtual sessions, you can find us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, and we do have different types of videos that children can participate in: pre-writing skills, loose parts, science experiments. We also have parent resources there about things like toilet training, importance of outdoor play, importance of sleep. So that can also be accessed, especially if it's a rainy, cold day and families don't want to get out, they can go to our social media and follow along on what we're doing on our social media. We do work with a lot of community partners, so our programs are Monday to Friday, and we like to have our community partners come right into the program and participate with the parents and children. So we have Renfrew County District Health Unit comes in and does nutrition, and there's a nurse that comes in and talks to family. We have First Words that come in, out and about for us, Integrated Health Services, Renfrew County Community Services often comes in. And then we have special evening resource educational programs. We work closely with Mary Hewitt, and she does some things for us. And we have other partners that come in as well that parents can access in the evening. We currently use a registration program called Key On, and it's a digital sign-in and membership system across across the province. And this system allows families to access programs across the province. So you get a fob when you register, so you can go to Petawawa, you can go to Pembroke, Redford, Deep River, and use the same fob. It attracts attendance, it helps us understanding community needs, and improves accessibility and streamlines registration for our play-based inquiry and support programs. And then our funders can also access that. So they have to, it's quite effective with time management, because our funders can go in and see exactly where the money is being spent for what programs. And I've also just attached a sample of a calendar that goes out, and it's also accessed on the Key On program.
Okay, thank you very much, Sue. And I apologize, Margot, I should have introduced you as well. We also have Margot Smith with us. She's the Manager of Children's Services for the County of Renfrew. So thanks for providing some backup for Sue today.
Just support.
Okay, just before I open it up to questions, all of the programming that takes place, is it just on the South Side Community Center, or is there some on the North Side as well?
So right now, it's 1 day a week on the North Side, 1 day a week, and we rotate the one evening and one Saturday. So those are rotated. But the plan is with our new building that it will be offered equally both on the North Side and South Side.
Okay, and maybe just to dispel a common misconception, because it's held in the South Side Recplex and the North Side Recplex, I think a lot of residents of Petawawa might feel that it's just for military dependents. But these programs are open to all residents of the town of Petawawa, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I'll open it up for questions from members of council. Councillor Coutu.
Thank you, Mayor Service. Thank you sincerely for your presentation. This is an extraordinary service to have so nearby. I was just curious, when is the new building predicted to be open?
So right now, I'm not sure when that's going to be open. We don't have an exact date. It's moving along quite quickly, but we don't have an exact date when that will be open. Thank you.
Can we say tentatively the spring of 2026? Like in the next couple of months, tentatively? I won't.
Midsummer?
I won't hold you. Councillor Carmen.
Thank you, Mayor Service. Thank you, Sue and Margot, for the presentation. It was a wonderful presentation, and this is a fantastic resource for us to have available in this community. And it's great to get the word out there that it's not only for, it's also open to civilians as well, which was great. And I was just curious, do you have a component to your program that's geared towards developmentally challenged people at all, or is that a different stream? Or
So all families are welcomed, and our early childhood educators are really experts in the field of, neurodivergent or special needs and challenges, as well as we have the county supports. We have an integration coordinator that actually comes and participates in the program. So we do a lot of resource and referrals, and we'll really walk the families through steps that they need to get the access to the type of services that they need within the community.
Thank you for that. That's wonderful information for people to know as well. So your community partners, Neuro Unique in Petawawa is, might be a great addition to your list. Thank you.
Further questions or comments? Councillor Roots?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you so much for the presentation. And what a wide variety of activities and educational programs that you have. I was unaware of that, but definitely will be spreading that word around for sure. And I just want to thank you once again for coming.
Councillor Donovan?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thanks, Sue, for the presentation. Very well presented, lots going on. I'm impressed that we were able to, or that you were able to, combine the lessons learned probably from COVID with regards to take-home kits and activities that parents could sign out and are still using those as part of the programming that you offer. The other thing too is I think we should note the amount of time early on has been here in Petawawa. Are we 25 years, 30 years? You know?
So I've been here 17, so yeah, I would say at least 20 years.
Yeah. Okay, so it's been a long, well-received, very important part of the community. Thank you.
Any further questions or comments? I have to be cognizant of the deputy mayor who's virtually online with us there. Okay, well, thank you again for coming, Sue and Margot, and for filling us in, and for all the thousands of people watching at home online about your programming. Thanks to you and your team for all that you do to provide for the parents and the children for the town of Petawawa. Thank you. Okay, we have another presentation now. This is why the big crowd is here. So welcome and congratulations to the Valor Junior Girls Volleyball team. You have done something that no other girls or boys team has done at the Valor School and General Pane High School, which came before Valor. So congratulations. And just because not everybody here knows about high school sports and UOFSA and EOSA and the history of the two schools, and this is more for members of council and anybody watching at home. So junior girls volleyball is for grade 9 and 10 students. And here in Renfrew County, we have something called UOFSA, which is the Upper Ottawa Valley High School Sports Association. There are 11 high schools here in Renfrew County. So for these girls to compete at UOFSA and make it to UOFSA, they first have to get through UOFSA, which is the counties. And you'll hear us talking about single A schools, double A schools, triple A schools. A single A school anywhere in Ontario, well, most places in Ontario, is from 1 student to 500. Once you pass 500, you become a double A student. And once you pass 950, you become a triple A school. Valor competes as a single A school. So that means we have less than 500 students. And I think in the county there are 3 double A schools.
Pulling this year to St. Joe's was relegated down.
Okay, so 4 double A schools. So Valor would have to compete against all those other schools to make it to EOSA. And just to give you some perspective, it was 1959 that General Pane opened. So it's been quite a while since volleyball, basketball, all these sports were occurring. And never once has a school or a team from one of those schools won a gold medal for a team at EOSA. So that's a pretty good accomplishment for all of you. You should be very proud of yourselves. Okay, so here's how it went. I'm going to give you the snapshot. You guys know because you lived it. But first you had a regular season for UOFSA, where you got to play all the other schools in the county. You went 27 wins, 0 losses. And in those 27 wins, you didn't even lose a set. So that's pretty good. So now come the playoffs. First round, you beat Mackenzie High School 3-0. And of course, there had to be some adversity. No season comes without adversity. You actually lost a match to St. Joe's, and they beat you 3-0. But you overcame that with the help of your coaches and everybody else who supports you. Then you beat Jean Lajoie 3-1 in the semifinal. That was to get you to the single A EOSA final. And then once again, you were up against St. Joe's in the UOFSA final, and you beat them this time, 3-2. So that meant you're on to single A EOFSA championships. So again, just to remind everybody, since 1959, there hasn't been a girl or a boys team in basketball, volleyball, soccer, all those other team sports that has gone on to EOFSA and won a gold medal. So at this point, just to kind of wrap up your season, we're going to show you a little video of your regular season. We think we're going to. There we go. Lots of good words. Lots of good words. I'm not, just wondering if the other teams enjoyed your celebration that you did, or if that got to them a little bit. You also won the Frost Fest 2026 tournament at RCI, and you won the Maryville High School Marauder Cup. And when you won that, you also beat some AA and AAA schools to win that tournament. So congratulations. Now it's on to EOSA, the playoffs for all of Eastern Ontario. There's six divisions in EOSA. So like Leeds and Grenville, Renfrew, Frontenac, Lanark, all those other counties come together with their best single A school. So there were 6 schools there. It was hosted in Kingston, and you guys were the #1 seed going in. So you had a lot of pressure on you. But you went through the whole tournament there at EOSA. You didn't drop a single set. And in the finals, you played ESC, École Secondaire Catholique Plantagenet. And in the final, you beat them 25-18 and 25-22 to win the gold medal at EOSA. And now we have a little video with your playoffs. Winning point? Congratulations. So Mr. Schroeder and I had the opportunity, Miss Lattis sent us the link, and we actually watched the finals on, it was live stream, some kind of live stream? So we actually watched you live win that game. It was pretty exciting to watch. Okay, so now what we're gonna do, just to honor each of you and your two coaches, Connie Lattis and Jimmy Gilbert, we're gonna call each one of you up one at a time, and we're gonna present you with a little medallion in a case. We don't give these out very often, but we thought this is something that doesn't happen too often. So we engraved some medallions for you on behalf of the town of Petawawa, just to show you how important we think it is, your accomplishment. And then as you get your medal, you'll just come and gather up here by the TV. And then when everybody's up here, all you athletes and your coaches, there'll be a chance for everybody to come up and take pictures. We'll kind of suspend time, and we'll just take photos and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so I'll introduce you one at a time. I hope I got it alphabetically here. So congratulations to each and every one of you. And I think 4 of you were grade 9s, and the rest of the girls were grade 10. So 4 of you will be back next year to try and defend your title. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so first we have Maggie Alexander. Congratulations. Taylor Butcher. Haley Howitt. Nora Lind. Congratulations. Callie McLeod. Lydia McCabe. Aaliyah Malone Baker. Congratulations. Layla Murphy. Congratulations. Piper Paquette. Piper couldn't make it this evening. Miley Postma. Congratulations. Isla Seres. Congratulations. Summer Sparling. Congratulations. Coach Jimmy Gilbert. And Coach Connie Lattis.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks, Gary.
Congratulations. Not to age myself, but I actually taught Connie. And coached her. That's how long I've been around. So we need to squeeze them like have a front row.
Okay, assemble, girls. Thanks, Nora.
Okay, so if there are any parents who want to take a picture, you can come right out in the middle there.
Connie, do you want the trophy?
Yeah, let us-
Yeah. That would be better than certificate.
It's different. I've seen it before. I like how they're suspended.
That was nice to do that. Yeah. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is take a sort of an unofficial 5-minute break while we gather all of our belongings, and you guys don't have to stay for the next hour of nonstop municipal excitement. I'm sure there's something good on TV. Ready? Okay, we're back from a short recess, and we're going to carry on with this evening with bylaws. First up, we have bylaw 1824/26, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a transfer payment agreement to receive funding under the Community Emergency Preparedness Grant Program with His Majesty the King in Right of Ontario, as represented by the Minister of Emergency Preparedness and Response. I need a motion for a first and second reading. Moved by Councillor Roots, seconded by Councillor Donovan, that bylaw 1824/26, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a transfer preparedness grant program with His Majesty the King in Right of Ontario, as represented by the Minister of Emergency Preparedness and Response, be read a first and second time. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried.
Bylaw 1824/26, Corporation of the Town of Petawawa, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a transfer payment agreement to receive funding under the Community Emergency Preparedness Grant Program with His Majesty the King in Right of Ontario, as represented by the Minister of Emergency Preparedness and Response, be read a first and second time, the 7th day of April 2026.
I need a motion for a third and final reading of bylaw 1824/26. Moved by Deputy Mayor Sabrin, seconded by Councillor Carmody, that bylaw 1824/26 be read a third and final time and passed. Are there any questions or comments on the bylaw? As you're all aware, this was a grant of $29,200 for emergency preparedness in the town of Petawawa, and our intention is to use it on some type of satellite communications and some emergency response equipment, for example, high volume pumps for floods and things like that. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried.
Corporation of the Town of Petawawa, bylaw 1824/26, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a transfer payment agreement to receive funding under the Community Emergency Preparedness Grant Program with His Majesty the King in Right of Ontario, as represented by the Minister of Emergency Preparedness and Response, be read a third time and passed. This constitutes third and final reading of bylaw 1824/26, the 7th day of April 2026.
Next, we have bylaw 1825/26, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a letter of agreement between the town of Petawawa and His Majesty the King in Right of the Province of Ontario, as represented by the Minister of Transportation, to receive funding under the dedicated gas tax funds for a public transportation program. I need a motion. Moved by Councillor Carmody, seconded by Councillor Donovan, that bylaw 1825/26, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a letter of agreement between the town of Petawawa and His Majesty the King in Right of the Province of Ontario, as represented by the Minister of Transportation, to receive funding under the dedicated gas tax funds for public transportation program, be read a first and second time. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried.
Corporation of the Town of Petawawa, bylaw 1825/26, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a letter of agreement between the Town of Petawawa and His Majesty the King in Right of the Province of Ontario, as represented by the Minister of Transportation, to receive funding under the dedicated gas tax funds for a public transportation program, be read a first and second time the 7th day of April 2026.
I need a motion for third and final reading of bylaw 1825/26. Moved by Councillor Coutu, seconded by Councillor Roots, that bylaw 1825/26 be read a third and final time and passed. Any questions, concerns on the bylaw? I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried.
Corporation of the Town of Petawawa, bylaw 1825/26, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a letter of agreement between the Town of Petawawa and His Majesty the King in Right of the Province of Ontario, as represented by the Minister of Transportation, to receive funding under the dedicated gas tax funds for a public transportation program, be read a third time and passed. This constitutes third and final reading of bylaw 1825/26, the 7th day of April 2026.
Next, we have bylaw 1826/26, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 1719/25 being a bylaw to authorize the use of internet and telephone voting for the 2026 municipal election. I need a motion for first and second reading. Moved by Councillor Roots, seconded by Councillor Carmody, that bylaw 1826/26, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 1719/25, being a bylaw to authorize the use of internet and telephone voting for the 2026 municipal election, be read a first and second time. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried.
Corporation of the Town of Petawawa, bylaw 1826/26, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 1719/25, being a bylaw to authorize the use of internet and telephone voting for the 2026 municipal election, be read first and second time, the 7th day of April, 2026.
I need a motion for third and final reading of bylaw 1826/26. Moved by Deputy Mayor Sabrin, seconded by Councillor Donovan, that bylaw 1826/26 be read a third and final time and passed. Any questions, concerns on the bylaws? Then I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried.
Corporation of the Town of Petawawa, bylaw 1826/26, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 1719/25, being a bylaw to authorize the use of internet and telephone voting for the 2026 municipal election, be read a third time and passed. This constitutes third and final reading of bylaw 1826/26, the 7th day of April, 2026.
Okay, that's it for bylaws. We'll move on to correspondence. Our first item of correspondence, we have a letter from the Integrity Commissioner Services. It's their 2025 annual report from Tony Fleming, the Integrity Commissioner. On this piece of correspondence, it outlines the number of times that we use the Integrity Commissioner. Here in Petawawa, there was one complaint in 2025 costing the taxpayers approximately $4,500. There was also a section of the correspondence talking about strong mayor powers and the parameters and some of the complications that it's created in various other municipalities in the province. And there's also a section on the Integrity Commissioner and their role as Integrity Commissioner and their role as a municipal solicitor. Sometimes they serve dual roles in some of the municipalities, but there's an assurance there that that does not constitute a conflict of interest. I'll open it up for questions on the correspondence. Any questions or comments? Then we'll receive that one as information. Next, we have a item of correspondence. It's the Petawawa glyphosate resolution. It came from the office of Julie DeBruzen, Minister of the Environment, Climate Change and Nature. And the letter simply stated that they received our resolution and read it. And not much else. Are there any comments or questions on that one? So we'll receive that as information. Our third piece of correspondence was the 2026 Ontario Senior of the Year Award. And it came from Raymond Cho, the Minister for Seniors and Accessibility. The deadline for nominations is April 15th, 2026, and I can confirm that we are working on one nomination and we will get it in before the deadline. So hopefully our nominee will be as successful. Any questions or comments on that one? We'll receive that as information. Our final piece of correspondence came from Leo Boland, Chairperson of the Renfrew County District School Board, and it's about protecting local voice in public education. So what this letter of correspondence basically outlines is that the Ministry of Education is coming up with a new proposal that may essentially eliminate trustee boards in the entire province of Ontario. And if that is not the ultimate outcome, then it will drastically change how school board trustee systems work. So I think the concern here is that trustees at the local boards are really an essential role for all of local school boards. They are elected by the populations, and they really act as the voice for the local community when it comes to local education. As everyone is aware, schools in Toronto and Ottawa and Windsor and other large cities are not the same as schools here in the town of Petawawa. So what may be good for a big inner city school may not be the same for a small town like Petawawa. So the feeling here is that these local trustee boards really allow us to tailor our education system to our local schools and our local population. We're also a unique community here in that we're a large military community that have a lot of families who come into our community and leave our community, which creates a whole different, atmosphere in the school systems with all of this transitional nature of our students. So really these school boards act as a primary community voice in public education. In case anybody watching is wondering, we have two trustees here in Petawawa. We have a Renfrew County District School Board trustee. That person is Karthi Rajmani. And we also have a Renfrew County Catholic District School Board trustee, and that's David Howard. And these two individuals act on all of the schools here in Petawawa's behalf, and they take those concerns back to the school board. What they do is they advocate. I think their most important role really is advocating for the students and the families themselves when very specific problems arise, and maybe it's just specific to one individual. It's these trustees that give a voice to that student and to those families. They also ensure that we have open meetings at the school board, transparent budgets, and visible accountability at all levels at the board, various boards of education. They identify transportation gaps, enrollment pressures, facility challenges, things that they can determine on the ground here in the town of Petawawa that somebody at the board or at the ministry in Toronto would not recognize and may have trouble identifying. So I think everybody's feeling is without these local boards of trustees, that our voices, our specific concerns, and things that are going on with our schools here in the town of Petawawa may not get heard down to Queen's Park in Toronto. So what they've asked us to do is to come up with a resolution in support of them advocating for the present school board trustee system to continue. I think before I read the motion, I'll just open it up for questions or comments from members of council. Are there any questions or comments? Councillor Roots.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I totally agree on supporting this. I think it's very, very important to have the trustees and being that voice, as you had mentioned. Everything that you've said is very, very important to have this open dialogue and to speak on behalf of parents and the students and to keep that going. So I'm in full support of this. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Sadler.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've had the experience to link with both trustees from the different school boards on behalf of some community concerns. And I look back a couple of years ago when there were challenges with school buses and getting kids to school. And the trustees were very responsive. They took the time to speak with each of the individuals that had concerns and provide the context and whatnot. So I think that it's very much worth supporting. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Carmody.
Thank you, Mayor Service. I too will support this motion. It's very important that we have that voice and that input into the governance of our schools.
Further questions or comments? I've been in education for 30 years, or was in education for 30 years. And even though I was an employee of the boards, there were times when even teachers like myself made use of the school board trustees. So again, I agree with everything that everybody has said. I think it's important that this present system remain to give our local school boards, our students and our parents a voice in how their education system is run locally. Okay, so I need a motion then if we're to support this. Moved by Councillor Roots, seconded by Councillor Donovan. And the motion or the resolution reads, whereas locally elected school board trustees provide essential community representation, and whereas rural communities rely on trustees to reflect local priorities, ensure accountability and advocate for students, and whereas proposed changes may reduce or eliminate locally elected trustees, now therefore be it resolved that Council of the Corporation of the Town of Petawawa affirms support for maintaining elected trustees. And further be it resolved that a copy of this resolution be sent to the Minister of Education, the Premier of Ontario, the Rural Ontario Municipal Association, ROMA, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, AMO, and Billy Deneau, MPP of Renfrew, Nipissing, Pembroke. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried. Okay, next we have minutes. First up is the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Advisory Committee meeting minutes of January 28, 2026. I need a motion to approve those minutes. Moved by Councillor Coutu, seconded by Deputy Mayor Sabrin, that the minutes of the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Advisory Committee meeting held on January 28, 2026 be adopted as information. Councillor Coutu.
Thank you, Mayor Service. So this is our January meeting. A big highlight of it is Pride planning. So June 12th from 5 to 8 p.m. Come on down to the Kin Hut. So we'll have Pride 2026 there. We are working hard to expand our collaboration with the community. So we're bringing in a lot more community members to vision Pride and to add their ideas to how it runs. We're adding more performers, we're adding more events, more accommodations. So if you've been to Pride before, you haven't been to this Pride. So I hope everyone will join us. So this meeting was very Pride focused, but we also had an opportunity to go through our 2026 work plan. So you'll see it in front of you there, but the highlights are, of course, increased collaboration with the garrison. That's one of our key goals, and working with other committees of council where our mandates overlap, as well as improving our community engagement, introducing more training opportunities to staff, offering educational opportunities to our community, and then reaching out to our nearby municipalities to look at what they're doing on these important topics and then share our experience now over the last 3.5 years. So if there are any questions on anything there, I'm very happy to speak further, and if there's anything that the Deputy Mayor would like to add, we'll give her a chance maybe. Thank you.
Okay.
No, she's good. Any questions or comments on the minutes for the EDI? I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried. Next, we have minutes for the Petawawa OPP Detachment Board from the meeting of February 18th, 2026. I need a motion. Moved by Councillor Carmody, seconded by Deputy Mayor Sabrin, that the minutes of the Petawawa OPP Detachment Board meeting held on February 18th, 2026 be adopted as information. Councillor Carmody.
Thank you, Mayor Sims. So just a couple of things to note in these minutes. You'll see that our year-end report to council is scheduled to be presented in these chambers on May 4th at our council meeting there. And also the board has been running some PSAs lately. If you listen to my FM radio at all, you'll have heard our most recent one on speeding. And then we'll have another one a little later in the season, perhaps voting safety or to be determined. So I'd be happy to take any questions that anybody may have.
Questions? Councillor Roots.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councillor Carmi, under 9A, in regards to the community engagement with local schools, has there been any new information to share with that? And I think myself, it's very, very important to have the OPP back in our schools and educating and talking to the students, and there's many benefits from that. So I just wanted to know if there was any update.
Thank you, Councillor Roots. Yes, there is an update for that. And the OPP have made inroads with the schools. Our new detachment commander has been in contact with several of the schools, and everything is moving ahead nicely.
Thank you very much.
Further questions or comments? Perhaps now that springtime, we'll have another Operation Decibel coming forward for the mufflers.
Perhaps, I think that's August.
Yeah. Okay, if there are no questions then, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? It's carried. We have no staff reports, so we'll jump right into councillor reports. First up, Deputy Mayor Sabrin, anything to report?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. On the 3rd of March, I participated in the civics class's presentation on municipal government and really enjoyed the experience. And I'd like to thank Madame Brunet for coordinating this on our behalf, or on the behalf of the class, and encouraging us to participate. On the 6th of March, I attended the town's Years of Service presentation luncheon and congratulate all the staff who received Years of Service awards and thank them very much for their service. On the 16th, I met with yourself, Mr. Mayor, and we took a look at the CAO evaluation. On the 17th, I attended a webinar on anti-bullying and anti-racism. It was very, very educational and really examined sort of where we sit as people and some of the issues that folks are facing, and how we can examine our own realities in those situations. So on the 18th of March, I participated in the retirement celebration, I guess, or event of Paramount Kitchens as they closed their doors after many years of service, providing kitchens to all sorts of residents, both here in the town of Petawawa and beyond. And I'd like to wish all the best to Joanne and Clarence in their retirement, and hope that they have very many years of great health and good times ahead. On the 19th, I participated in a land acknowledgement consultation meeting. And so Mr. Mayor, I'm sure you'll be reporting on that, more to follow. On the 23rd, I chaired the library board meeting where we, with regret, accepted the resignation of our CAO. And he will be leaving mid-month of this month of April. And we will be conducting a, we will be conducting a search for a new CAO. But happy to report that Lynn Tweedy will be stepping in as interim CAO and has held the helm a few times and has done an outstanding job. So we are in very good hands there. On the 24th of the month of March, I represented yourself, Mr. Mayor, and brought greetings to the Development Summit that our planning director, Melanie, had put forward. It was an absolutely excellent seminar and provided a lot of information to developers in the town of Petawawa, both from a CNL and a Garrison perspective, as to what's coming down the pipe and how they can get ready to support those needs. On the 24th, I also attended the last official board meeting of the Phoenix Center Board of Directors, where I've been a director there for 3.5 years. As the council is aware, the Phoenix Center has amalgamated with the Pembroke Regional Hospital, and services will be provided under that helm. However, services remain the same to the community, and they will continue to be offered out of the current location, so there will be no disruptions to supporting the mental health needs of both children and adolescents in our community. On the 25th, I chaired a seniors parquet meeting, and I also attended the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Committee meeting. On the 27th, I represented yourself, Mr. Mayor, at the dinner for the first and second year residents at the Pembroke Regional Hospital. Wow, what a great group of people we have who are coming forward to become doctors in our communities, and really was encouraged by the level of enthusiasm for staying in the area to provide that family medicine. So it was a really good dinner, and I thank the Pembroke Regional Hospital for hosting that. And finally, on the 30th, I attended a planning meeting for the Emergency and Protective Services United event, which will be held this coming September on the 12th. And this will be the 3rd year, and it will be returning to Petawawa. So thank you. And I'd also like to just say that I would prefer to be there in person. It's a very interesting to be sitting over here. There's a bit of a delay, so in the proceedings, but it's good to be part of the meetings this way as well. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Kermit.
Thank you, Mayor Service. I can report that on Tuesday, March 17th, I as well attended the celebration of Paramount Kitchens to celebrate 40 plus years in service for Joanne and Clarence Barrick. And on Wednesday, March 18th, I chaired a police services, a OPP detachment board meeting. On Tuesday, March 24th, I attended the planning summit at the Civic Center. On Tuesday, March 31st, I attended a retirement celebration for Janet Harkness at the library. And on Thursday, April 2nd, I attended an autism flag raising ceremony here in the town.
Thank you. Councillor Coutu.
Thank you, Mayor Service. On March 18th, I attended the Pride Planning meeting. On March 19th, I too attended the Land Acknowledgement Consultation meeting. On March 23rd, I attended a Petawawa Library Board meeting. And on March 24th, I attended the Petawawa Development Summit, which was again an excellent event. We were so lucky to have the planning department we have now. It's so future looking. And on March 25th, I chaired a meeting of the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Advisory Committee. And on March 31st, I said goodbye with many other people to Janet at the library, who has always been one of my very favorite librarians. So I hope to see her around the community, but I will miss her at the library. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Donovan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Oh, my phone just back. There we go. On the 17th of March, I as well attended the Paramount celebration of 40 years. It was great to see business in our community last that long and do so well. The 24th of March, I as well attended the planning forum that was put together by our planning department. An excellent opportunity to gain some information and insight with regards to the CAF as well as CNL and what's coming over the next little while. That was great. On the 26th, I attended a senior outreach meeting as part of the Senior Advisory Committee. On the 1st of April, I attended the Senior Advisory Committee meeting. We did not reach a quorum, so it was a small discussion group that looked at how we were moving forward with some stuff. And then on the 2nd of April, I attended the senior meeting. The meeting between the town, the Petawawa Housing Corporation, looking at ways forward with regards to programs to be part of the discussion on that as well. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Roots.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. March 26th, I attended a Ottawa Valley Waste Recovery meeting. Discussions at this meeting were an audited financial statement overview, perpetual care investments, new compost retail and wholesale pricing for the year. We signed a new battery recycling agreement with Call to Recycle Canada Incorporated. We discussed corporate policies for employees' work schedules and overtime. We finalized a bulk waste processing tender and a discussion about landfill expansion and leachate treatment system. Things are very busy at the Waste Recovery Center, and we're continuing to work through the new Universal Provincial Recycling Program. And we're encouraging businesses and residential communities to adapt to the new changes to the best of their abilities. Once again, I would like to remind the community here in Petawawa as well to continue to shop and support local businesses as much as we can. Just due to the new economic pressures and challenges, it's very important to assist where we can. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. For my part, on March 16th, I participated with Deputy Mayor Sabrin. We completed the 6-month evaluation on the CAO. He's still here beside me. He's doing a fantastic job. On the 17th, I was also at the closing of Paramount Kitchen. Congratulations to Clarence and Joanne. Wish them the best in their retirement, and thanks for all the 40+ years of fabulous service to the community. On the 19th, I was also at the land acknowledgement consultation with Amy Bailey of the Circle of Turtle Lodge. As you heard today, we're on the 91st call to action of 94. So in a couple of weeks, we realized that we needed to update our land acknowledgement. And with Amy's help, we think we've just about finalized that. And this morning, I was at the Deep River and District Hospitals biannual meeting. A lot of interesting things going on up there at the Deep River Hospital campus. At their new primary care facility, they have 2 brand new programs. They have a lung health program They actually have a respiratory therapist that comes on site once a week. And they also just started a new MINT Memory Clinic, which is a multi-specialty interprofessional team that deals with memory services, both behavioral and cognitive. And again, it's also an on-site service up there at the new primary care building. The Four Seasons Long-Term Care Home, they're still on track to open in 2027 with 96 long-term care beds. Those 96 beds, they're now going to separate into 3 neighborhoods, they call it. One regular, one aging in place neighborhood of 32 beds, and one 32-bed memory and behavior care neighborhood, as they call it. Right now, they're just finalizing their staffing plan and model, and will soon start recruitment, which they say may be their biggest challenge. There was somebody from Algonquin College on the Zoom meeting talking about PSWs and are they preparing PSWs around here to staff that facility and the others. Normally they would get 50 applicants for their PSW programs, which runs 3 times a year. This spring they only had 9 applicants, so they actually canceled their PSW program for this spring. And they're hoping to get a few more for this fall and put those 2 together, which is not really that great. And the one that started in January only has 14 entrants. So I guess we need to get the word out there that PSWs are much needed, especially in this area. They also had good news about 3 hospice beds approved by Ontario Health. So once they move their clientele out of the old wing that they had for long-term care, they've got funding for 3 hospice beds, and they're hoping to get a 4th. One other good news piece is that the DRDH Foundation raised $1.1 million last year, which is amazing from a community that small. A question was asked about the long-term care home, if it's going to open in 2027. Is there a waiting list already? There is. I have to start thinking about things like that. I'm getting up there, so maybe I'll get my name on the list. But if you're looking to get on the list, you have to go to the Ontario Health at Home wait list and ask for the Four Seasons Long-Term Care Home in Deep River. So right now it's already at 120. One other tidbit that came out of that, there was some military representation. A big announcement is that there's a new recruiting center opening in the town of Petawawa for the first time. Yeah, a town with a military base is getting a recruiting center, so that's good news. All right, that's it. There's no closed meeting. I need a motion for the confirming bylaw. Moved by Councillor Roots, seconded by Councillor Coutu. That bylaw 1827/26 be read a first, second, and third time and passed. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried.
Corporation of the Town of Petawawa bylaw 1827/26, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its meeting held on April 7th, 2026. You read it first, second, and third time and pass. This constitutes first, second, and third reading short of bylaw 1827/26, the 7th day of April, 2026.
I need a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Coutu, seconded by Councillor Carmody, that the meeting adjourn to the call of the mayor. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried.